In this episode tonight, coming up, it's more chat about football.
Hello! Started to do a Mexican wave on my own.
Well, hello there.
Unbelievable. Right.
This is my lovely introduction.
Welcome to Corby Town TV, and we are on tonight on the YouTube channel. If you've just come across us, where the hell have you been? Hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button below here. We will try and entertain you with all things football. And
yes, I was doing a bit of research, right? And this was absolutely blew my mind. Did you know in the Premier League, the Manchester United mascot is paid £85,000 a season?
You're joking.
How much is Robbie the Raven paid?
Wow.
85 grand. I think Tottenham were fifth with 65,000 they paid.
With Chirpy?
Yeah.
That's bizarre, because I was at Cov last week watching Tottenham, and Tottenham were rubbish. But they've got this little blue elephant that goes on the pitch. Yep. Because there's an elephant in the Cov badge.
Yep.
And I was in the Cov end, so I had to obviously be on my best behaviour. And I did say to my mate who's a Cov season ticket holder, I bet, look at that bloke with the elephant's head on. I bet he's getting paid 250 quid. And I just said, if you're saying he's getting, at United, they're 85 grand. That's
look it up.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yep. Anyways.
And Goonosaurus, he's not worth anything. He probably cheats like most of the team. That was a red card. Live with it.
I think he's second.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The Goonosaurus.
Yeah.
You reckon it's a bloke with a really, really long neck?
No idea. No idea. So, anyways, first things first.
Saturday.
Yeah, we'll go Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's say it was a difficult result to take, considering at 90 minutes it was 2-2, and the team had shown a lot of resolve, got back into the game twice, came from 2-0 down to bring it back to 2-2, before yet again we've been done on penalties. Second time this season.
Yeah, done on penalties. Got to say that, having done the highlights, I eventually got them done. Simply because I was doing other things.
They're already out there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Tune in. Go find the highlights.
We created a number of chances. We limited Malden, really. We gave away, and like Gary said, we'll show you some of the best bits in here, and we'll put Gary's interview underneath it so you can hear and watch.
Well, I can only hope that you're going to show their first goal. Absolute travesty.
Yeah.
He was being held all the way. Yeah. Their number 9 had the back of his shirt, blindsiding the referee, and you could see Ross turned around. He had nowhere to go. He was being pulled left, right, and centre. Disgusting refereeing, and nothing more than you expect from the Isthmian League. Really poor decisions.
Yep. Well, that's him on his high horse. So yeah. So 2 goals given away. I think the second one Gary seemed to be really annoyed about because it was just a throw-in and not like ourselves. But yeah,
the way it is. But yeah, other things came to me that weekend as well because they're on the same step as us, step 4. The ground. It was okay, very limited parking. For those who didn't go, there wasn't much for parking. But there was lots of other pitches around. So there was lots of other hockey we're using up some of the car parking space. So that's fine.
Here we go.
There was no connectivity. And I didn't see a team sheet until social media yesterday. So why I didn't get one, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm special and I deserve one, but quite frankly, as a member of the press, you want the information in front of you. So that didn't happen. And the worst of all, because this is part of the ground regulations, there was no PA. So if there was something that went disastrously wrong, and there was 2 sea helicopters went over us whilst the game was on. So if there was a problem, there was no PA, and it's wrong. And if they're not meeting ground regs, they shouldn't be in the league. And it's terrible. But what I did do today, I did have a look at the draw for the FA Trophy to see where they were playing next.
Yeah.
They're still at home and they're playing Canby Island.
Oh,
now,
okay.
I reckon they're in the Isthmian League as well. I think there might be a step above them. And if they bring as many or even a few more fans to Malden and Tiptree as we brought, because I didn't see the attendance till today, 160 or 162.
I thought it was 186.
I don't think it was that much. But anyway, it wasn't an awful lot. And I just felt they couldn't cope. And if Canby Island bring quite a few, because Canby Island's quite a well-supported team, they're going to have problems. But this is something that I've said for a very long time, that if you're if you're a professional, if you're a non-league football team, you still need to be professional at what you do. And I don't think that they were. But people have actually backed me up on Twitter on this, saying he's making some very good points. The ground regs aren't met. So luckily here we do things right at Corby Town. And I'm not saying this from a high point and preaching down, but it's just not right. Certain things need to be administered and need to be made sure that they're fit and available for away fans and for members of the press and everything there.
And if you were there early enough on Saturday, you would have seen Chuck climbing up a hill, waving his mobile phone in the air to get a signal.
Yeah, shocking. I do appreciate that there's only a signal from one side, because the other side is the sea. But unbelievable. If you know you're going to have connectivity problems and you're a football club, you put Wi-Fi in. But the fact they hadn't even got a PA system meant I had no idea who scores for them, because I hadn't got a team sheet and there was nobody calling out the goal scorer. Absolutely ridiculous. And 2 minutes at the end of the first half, that was an absolute nightmare. After they scored 2, they were so slow. It was watching Arsenal, just wasting every minute they could. And the ref gave 2 minutes added on time. It was not good, appalling. But it's behind us. We'll get on with the next cup competition on Wednesday night, because we're against Wellingborough in the Cilia Cup. That's the Northampton Senior Hillier Cup. And looking forward to that.
And if that game is on, you're going to see the highlights right now.
Oh, now let's go. Gary, what can I say? Rain stopped play. We're meant to be playing tonight versus Wellingborough in the Senior Hillier Cup, but it's been chucking it down for 2 hours and game's been called off. Disappointing for you?
I'd have rather it been called off at 4 o'clock, if I'm being honest. But there's nothing you can do. I spoke to James at sort of 4:30, and that pitch was fine. I was driving in, and obviously the rain was getting harder and harder and more persistent. And you start seeing puddles forming on the roads, and that's a bit of a sign. And I got here, and actually the pitch was probably the best that's looked. That looked unbelievable. I walked on it, the pitch was fine. Obviously, I was here early, about 5:40. We then had another hour's solid rain that started getting a bit squelchy. Then the ref come in and said, I'm going to just go check. He's dropped the ball in the far corner. That's just stone dead. But the rest of the pitch is all right. But that just didn't stop raining since, and we're another hour on from then. So it's a tough one. Obviously, both teams were there, ready to play. Teams were picked. Teams ready to go out for the warm-ups. It's not ideal. Luckily, they ain't come from, obviously, the Midlands or somewhere like that. They're down the road, so that's not a killer for them. But obviously, that would have been a nice game to get out of the way, going into what is already a busy October. And obviously, we're probably going to have to squeeze this one in somewhere.
That's right, because this game does actually take precedence over league games, because it's...
Apparently not.
Oh, really not?
Apparently, if the games have been rearranged already, they will be played.
Oh, right, okay, good.
So just this is what their guys told me, because they had it with Sutton Coldfield the other week, when we should have played this last week, when they played Sutton Coldfield 2 weeks ago. Apparently, if the games are now already in the diary, then that just go to the first available one, which I believe what their guys said is we play Loughborough next Wednesday, Cornwall the Wednesday after. Then we've got a game off, but they've got a game. Then we're at Anstey on the 22nd, so I think he said the 30th.
Wow.
Is when that'll be played.
That makes a very, very busy October. and this would have been the only home game this season, this month for Steelmen fans. So they would have been gagging to get here, I guess.
But I'm probably totally wrong, and that'll be played next Wednesday. They'll shift the Loughborough game. I don't know. So, but that's what their man. He was pretty adamant. He said that's been enforced this year. So hopefully that's the case. We want to get back to the league action, and obviously if we're tired, like their manager is the same. If we have to play youth teams just to get the fixture out of the way, and then we will. We'll just see where we are with the players, with the squad at that time when that come round and positions in the league. Obviously, we're 6 or 7 more games down the road. So we'll see where we're at and see what team we can put out.
So bad news here tonight at Steel Park on the pitch, but good news kind of off the pitch because you've signed a player on contract.
Yeah, better than good news, excellent news. Fletcher obviously been making a lot of noise since he's been there with his performances and his goals, and we've been getting a lot of interest. Kettering come in for him last week, but we was already in the process of talking about it, getting him on contract. That's something he weren't keen on doing before he come. You didn't know how he was going to react to the travelling and the lads, but he settled in brilliantly, playing with a big smile on his face, enjoying his football. And when I spoke to him about it and his family, they couldn't. They really wanted to get it done. So we sat down, we thrashed it out, and hopefully he'll be here till the end of the 25-26 season.
So it's a great thing for the player because he knows where he's at, what he's got to do, what contract's got behind him. But also it's great for you because you've got a top class striker in the number 9 shirt for this season and going into next. And if we're in step 3, we don't want to put too much pressure on. Yeah. But if we're in step 3, we've got a perfect player to come into the team.
And that's what he's come here to do as well. He's not all about, and this is what I've learned about him, that's not about him. That's not about how many goals he can score and how much praise that he get. He is all about the team. Even though he scored all his goals, you can see he's a very unselfish player. He's a great teammate. He wants to do well for the team. He wants to do well for Corby. He wants to do well for me and his teammates. So, I very much doubt whether Corby Town's going to be his ceiling. But we'll enjoy him while he's here. We're not looking over his shoulders week by week now. Every time he scores, someone going to come in because we know we've secured him for a certain amount of time, which is brilliant because I really enjoy working with him. And like I say, he's a shy lad, not a shy lad. He's come out of himself loads since he's been here. Obviously, he's done 1 or 2 interviews as well, and I'm sure he'll be doing 1 or 2 more as the season go on. But yeah, that's a massive coup for us, and no disrespect in the slightest to Corby Town, but that ain't going to be Fletcher Toll's next move. He's still learning his trade, but I think he'll go on to bigger and better things as well as they're doing this year. I'm not saying no disrespect, but I think if he keeps progressing the way he is, when he leaves Corby, that'll be to something probably bigger than Corby Town.
No disrespect, you say, but of course, every Corby Town fan will be very pleased he's not going to someone like Kettering, but with the local rivalry. But you've got to look at the player, and he has taken his goals well. Yeah. He scored a bucket load, and he looks like he's a good. He's in a good place for the rest of the season. But which moves us on, of course, to the game at the weekend. It's not the best of pitches, we realise, at the Coventry Sphinx. And it looks like it may rain now for a couple of days. We don't want the game off, do we? We want to play the game, but it could be a bit of a sticky wicket.
To be honest, I thought the pitch was quite good there last year. I've watched 1 game there and I've played and the pitch has been all right. I'm not sure what it's like for the weather, but I think they had their game abandoned through the lightning last week. So, they'll probably want to get the game on. The 2 managers over there, they're football men. I don't think they'll be, if they can get the game on, they'll get the game. They'll get the game on. I think they got a couple of suspensions and 1 or 2 injuries, like we all have. But I still think they'll try and get the game on. Like I say, they'll they'll want to be the first team to probably beat Corby this year. You know, they're a plucky team. They got a load of draws last year, which probably kept them in the division because they was hard to beat. They was well organised. They probably just didn't get quite enough goals at the top end of the pitch to win games, but they was competitive in almost. I think they got beat well by Harborough once, but I think they was competitive in nearly every fixture they played. Certainly the two they played against us. And I'm expecting a tough game. And I think you've seen with the games this year that look, Grantham away really tough, Lie away really tough. Coventry Sphinx will be no different than that. And like I say, we've just got to get back to our levels, which we fell below on Saturday. I felt 1-16, and you know we've got to get back. It'd been nice to have a little run out tonight to get that out of the system, but we'll go straight to Coventry on Saturday, hopefully, fingers crossed, and get back to the levels that we set ourselves this season.
Gary, looking forward to it, and thanks for joining us again on Corby Town TV. Stay tuned. More from Michael soon.
Callum, thanks for joining us this evening. Been out there training. We should have been playing tonight, but is that frustrating when you get that situation?
It's a bit frustrating when you get here. You obviously want to play, but yeah, we can't help it with the weather. But yeah, it means we can concentrate on Saturday, which is another big game for us moving forward. Can concentrate on the league. I mean, I've got to worry about that game for a few weeks whenever it gets rearranged. But the league's the main focus, and that's what we all want to do well in. So.
And how are you enjoying your time here at Corby Town?
Yeah, loving it at the minute. Yeah, it's been a really good start, but just a good start. Boys have all been on it pre-season and lead up. We've all worked hard, so we just need to keep putting that into every game. And I think we'll do all right. Do a lot better than what we did last year, hopefully.
Yeah, and it's keeping that core, wasn't it? Because there's a core of you that were here last season and towards the end of the season before when I'm not sure you were there when Gary first came in, were you? Or did you come in towards the end? I
came towards the end of the season. Yeah, I came towards the end and was here for the last few months of the season. But yeah, last season was the first full one. But yeah, it's been a good start, and hopefully we can kick on and keep doing it all the way through. But it's a long season, got plenty of games left, so yeah, just got to carry on. What
people probably don't know, I mean, I've seen you play at that team down the road, Harborough.
Yeah.
A bit of a goal scorer as well, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, well, I was at Harborough for quite a few years, about 5-6 years, but that's when they were at step 5. I wasn't at them when they were at step 4. But yeah, that's when I was playing centre mid a few years ago. It feels like a long time ago now, but yeah.
It was more forward though, wasn't it?
I was more forward then, yeah. But then I went centre halves and I just played centre back, and I've sort of kept that position since. But yeah, enjoying it still. But yeah, obviously missed a few goals, but
yeah, I'm sure you'll get. How many have you got since you've been here? 1, 2?
I think I've got 3.
Have you?
Yeah,
3.
I think I've got 3. Yeah, or it might be 2. I know it was Loughborough. I can remember Loughborough last season at home, away, and Gresley. But I think there's another one, but I can't remember where it is. But.
And it's pretty special if you score down that end and everyone comes running down, especially in the last minute.
Yeah. I remember because it was I think it was a 1-1 draw against Gresley. I think that's the one I can remember. But yeah, hopefully get a couple this year.
Excellent.
Thinking of that, we've got a great big wall here. I know you can't see it, but it's as plain as a plain wall can be. So if you're thinking, I need some advertising, it's shocking. Some advertising or some sponsorship there on the wall. We can move the camera back. We can get that in. We can put another camera on it. It'll be fine. So contact us at the usual kind of address, info@corbytown.co.uk, and we'll pick that up. But yeah, opportunities there. Be great to see anybody come along and sponsor the team, sponsor the club, sponsor the ball. Or sponsor a player, in fact. So that's happening as well. And then go and have a couple of beers in the chairman's boardroom, pre-match, sit down with the programme, have a cup of tea, have a couple of beers, have a bit of fish and chips or a Scots pie at half-time. And it's a great afternoon's entertainment.
It is, yeah. It is. It'd be nice to have those chaps that are on there. I forget what they're called. Is it padded seat or something? Where they go round, they try all the hospitality, loads of different grounds. Well, they go abroad, they go non-league.
What you have to do there is tag them.
League.
Tag them on the...
I can't remember. Is it Nexpo? I'll have to look at it. But yeah, these guys go in and they give you information. It's normally on Twitter.
All right.
Okay, and they're shorts, maybe a minute, and they just give people the information, tell them how much it costs, and all these types of things. Yeah, maybe we haven't got hospitality packages like that. I don't know.
Well, not overly, but there are for a certain fee. You can do that. But I was just going to say, I was involved in a podcast. Somebody contacted me and said, well, they contacted the club and said, would you like to be on a podcast? And I thought, well, what about what? And it was just a vocal, just an audio one.
Yeah.
So Raymondo Football, that's Fulbol. Raymondo, that's Ray, as in our name, Ray Mondo. We sat down and spoke for about 45 minutes, and it was just generally me talking about non-league football.
Oh.
And the fact that being a Corby Town fan, we've been everywhere. We've been up in the northeast. We've been across to Wales. We've been down to Wales. We've been across to Cornwall. Been to the Isle of Wight. We've been down to Essex and Kent and everywhere. So we've covered the length and breadth of the country. But you get to see how lots of other clubs work and their inner workings and what they do. And some clubs we've been to have been absolutely fantastic. Bristol Rovers was great, and South, what was it called? That one up near Manchester.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Stockport, that was brilliant. And some other, I think, non-league clubs. Curzon Ashton was quite nice, but and even United of the City of Manchester, or whatever they're called, were quite good because their music was quite good pre-match. Nearly as good as what it is here, ladies and gentlemen, I'll have you know. But yeah, it's a chance to just get a few kind of ideas of what's going around. But it was a nice chat, and yeah, padded seat, 2024 awards.
Yep, that's the lads that go round and they become very popular. Like I say, they go all over, covering all levels of football. They, wherever, and they're going and.
So what I'll do is I'll find them on Twitter and I'll tag them on a couple of things, and they might come along, because we do get an awful lot of groundhoppers here at Corby Town, because it's a proper ground.
We've had a couple that have missed the game.
What got here late?
No, ground hopping. They bounced over it.
No. But I knew that when we were at
that
Lye,
was too silly for him.
When we were at Lye, there was a lady had gone to see Lye Town.
Okay.
But she was from Norway, and she lived, and her local team were called Lye, spelled differently, but they were still Lye. So she wanted to go to Lye Town and see both the Lyes, you see. And I said, well, it was another ground hopper for her, but I said, you're going to come back and see Lye versus Corby versus Lye, because it's the 7th of December. But I think it was a bit too quick of a turnaround for her.
Ah, well.
But all lots of things like that. So it's very interesting talking to people. But I did think that there was a couple of rude people there Saturday, but I'm not going to mention them. Silence, deafening, ladies and gentlemen.
Not going to comment really, apart from what I will say is there was some kickback for my placement within the ground, but those chaps by the end of it all shook my hand and wished me all the best. So yeah, originally they were very prickly about me being in a place where they normally go, but unfortunately for them, I had to simply point out the fact that that's where Malden had said for me to go and film.
Well, they're still in the competition. I'm sure they'll have a great game against Canby Island, a whole island. So,
But they were nice guys. If you're watching, after all, the prickliness at the start, hello.
It was like a pear, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we've seen tonight. We've seen, just to give you a recap, I like a little recap at the summary at the end. We've talked about the Saturday game at Malden and Tiptree. And we've talked about the Wellingborough game in the Hillier Cup, and we've talked about
which will be highlighted, and you'll be able to watch the highlights here, or you've already watched the highlights here, actually. Yeah, perhaps you have.
And there was an announcement. You've seen that announcement here, and there's some other stuff going down. But we'll bring you next week highlights from the Coventry Sphinx game versus Corby. and then we'll talk about a bit more because I'm not around. So we might have to do something after the game like we did at Lie. But that worked quite well, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah.
I think it was just a bit, the one you probably sort of go back to that podcast and it was really, really short. And the reason why it was really, really short was events at Baseford, because the plan was to do a feature up at Baseford and everything like that. But because of what happened, that wasn't possible. So we only had 2/3 of whatever of the podcast or half a podcast of material. That's why it was short.
But we still might get that in because they might play Thursday.
Yeah,
so we don't
maybe.
know. But yeah, so a fully packed show tonight. We'll call it a show, won't we? It's like a show. Therefore, stay tuned. And next time we'll be talking about Sphinx and the other game against Loughborough students and some highlights from those games and a couple of more interviews, I guess.
We will try our best. And at some point, we'll get a guest in, maybe Chuck the Poet.
Excellent. Yeah. Oh, talking of that, they had a comedy night, Steal a Laugh, at the bar last Friday. All the turns were very good. It was a good, entertaining evening. All for a tenner, not a bad night at all. The only thing missing was a few more punters. It would have been a bit nicer, a bit more fun. It was a bit more reaction. So, if you want a good evening's entertainment for only a tenner, and what's that, 2 beers, get down to Steel Park, 19th of October, I think is the next one. But have a look at the Steel Bar. Have a look at them on Twitter or on Instagram. It's probably the best place. They've got a couple of great bands coming up there too as well. So support that place, supports the club, gets more money in, and make sure that the team plays and stays where they are at the top of the league.
Yep. And before we go, which I'm sure we're going to go now because we've rabbited, it was really nice, Chuck, to see the supporters bus going from the club again.
Oh, yes, the supporters bus now leaving here from the Steel Bar. They came in for beers and for some scran, I believe, before they went. So that's nice as well because they're putting money back into the club and it needs it. And they've done an awful lot of work in the club lately. All those kind of banisters that were around the back of the seats, they've all been cut off. All the tellies are working. That's all good. Just got to sort out the carpet. I think there might be, we're looking for anybody who can maybe sponsor it, maybe to replace the carpet because either that or hoik it up. But the problem is, of course, it's an old football pitch and badminton court. So I think it would just be pure concrete, but nobody wants that really, do they?
Nope.
Because if you drop a glass on that, it'll go absolutely everywhere.
And if you're having gigs in there as well, you
need a carpet to soak up some of the sound.
Well, I don't know about that, but hey.
But yeah, things are happening there, and the money's certainly coming back into the club. So it's churning around. So that's the way it should be, and we're grateful for everybody that's been involved and helping that along. Talking as a swish with my hand. Obviously, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification button over there. And that's it.
Look out for all our social media outlets. That's my spot now to introduce that. And that will give you updates on stuff that we've said that may be out of date by the time this goes out. Social media outlets is where you can find the latest updates.
And we've also taken on notice from some of the comments made about the website as well. We're looking at it now to make that more updatable.
Good. That's all good news.
Cheers.
So we've only got one thing to do now, Chuck.
What's that?
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Say goodbye.